Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters on BET. Let's just jump right into it. We are reviewing season 5, episode 10, entitled Discretion is Key. So, Sabrina and Danny are talking while Andy's outside talking to the prosecutor, and she's worried about being sentenced and, the foreseeable future that they could very well keep her ass in jail. And, which makes sense. It's highly possible at this point. They got video evidence, they got witnesses. So yeah, it's a reasonable fear to have at this point. So she's counting on Maurice telling the truth, and she wants to know, like, why would he even say something like that? Well, we already know as the viewers. He said it with sarcasm, intent, inflection. All of that is important when you're conveying a message. We know that Maurice said it in jest, but it's the American legal system. And I'll just leave that at that. And so Danny tells her, that there's an informant, and she was like, maybe you should call. And then she goes over to her like, hey, the guy Logan that I was dating, he is he's FBI, and he knew that you were being investigated. And she was like, well, why don't you tell him, that I'm innocent? She's like, I tried to tell him, but he won't believe me. So I've exhausted all my options. And then so she's back to banking on Maurice telling the truth. And she was like, well, good thing about it, Calvin is going to put $20K up of his own money, on your bail, your defense, whatever you need. And she was shocked at the fact that Calvin was still willing to show up and show out for her, considering, how contentious their relationship is, which, honorable, I guess. All right. Then Andy rushes in, and she's like, Danny, get your shit so we can get out of here. Now, going back to the bail with Calvin being willing to pay the $20K. Well, the prosecutor is not willing to give her a bail, so the $20K is pointless at this stage of the game, but maybe Robin can help get her a bail or get more information, so that could come in handy. All right, so Andy rushes in. She's like, Danny, get your shit. We got to go. And they leave in haste. And so Sabrina's like, listen, y'all don't leave me here. She's like, we coming back, but we got to leave right now. Because the prosecutor's like, listen, y'all get out of here or I'm going to have y'all arrested. So they got to get the hell out of here ASAP. All right. Karen and Aaron are eating the dinner that she didn't want, that he ended up making for her anyway. And he asked her, like, hey, I know you went through the phone, so did you find anything crazy? And, now she's so sorry for doubting him and giving him a hard time. And she goes on to ask him, like, hey, why are you so patient? And he was like, because I love you, and love is patient, love is kind, and whatever the people told y'all that it is. And then she tells him that he makes it real hard for her to be mad and to stay mad at him. He's like, what are you talking about? She was like, I'm still really not over the hospital thing. Like, you used your doctor friend to find out that I was in the hospital, which, all right, I can see how that can be upsetting and also a HIPAA violation, but it's done at this point. His potential possible baby was in there with you, so I can kind of sort of see how he feels about it. All right. So she's telling him, like, the girls are on the way now. So he's like, okay, cool. I'm going to do the dishes and I'm going to go play some basketball. And now her interest is peaked because she knows that Zach plays basketball. So she asked him, like, hey, was Zach, and I literally typed in my notes, girl, why? Why do you want to know if Aaron plays basketball with Zach? Because later on in the episode, you're going to say that you're over it, but there's little inclinations that you are in fact not. Which I understand, logical, reasonable, that it is a process, but you can't convince yourself that you're done with it when you're not completely done with it. All right, so she tells him she's going to the doctor tomorrow for an ultrasound so she can get a more accurate estimate to determine the actual date of conception. Now, everybody's banking on this ultrasound idea that Fatima pitched, and sounds good. However, medically speaking, don't ask me because I don't got nobody churn and I don't really know. Just, in my uneducated experience through other people. Your date of conception is an estimate more than an actual. They can't pinpoint like the day, the hour, the minute, the second, and I don't remember the timeline, unfortunately, because we're on 100 episodes, so it's hard for me to remember things sometimes. So we'll keep track of things. But I don't, if I'm not mistaken, did she sleep with Zach and Aaron in like the same week or a few days or something to that effect? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But that's a bit close for them to be able to determine. And so my guess is that is exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be too close for you to be able to make a determination on which one shot the club up in time. All right. Okay. All right. So she asked him like, okay, what if the baby's not yours? And he continues to convince her like, I'm not going nowhere, Karen. Basically, stop trying to push me away. I'm not leaving. I ain't going nowhere. All right, cool. And she tells him like, considering my situation and everything that I got going on, I don't know a man that would love a baby under the circumstances that I have going on. And he says that he's done it before, which I'm assuming is by way of his wife, because I think his wife had kids when she came into the relationship. Similar, not the same, because I feel like maybe his wife had kids from like previous relationships, but the Zach and Karen thing is a little more new than, hey, this lady, she got 3 pre-existing kids from her first marriage, and now we hooked up years later, bring the kids, package deal type thing, as opposed to we ain't even really dated yet, and you got a baby and a possible by somebody else, is what I'm saying. All right, so he claims he don't care about all of that, and this moment confirmed what I think a little bit, maybe kind of sort of. He is kind of giving too good to be true. Like there's nothing she could do wrong. He's never upset. Nothing gets under his skin. Nothing pisses him off. And that is a little bit worrisome, but we're going to keep our good eye on Mr. Preacher Aaron that drank and have sex, Mr. Preacher Sir. Moving right along. All right. So, Andy and Danny are on the way home, and Danny asks Andy, if she'll be able to get in. Danny asks Andy if she's going to be able to get in to see Maurice, and so now she has to tell her everything about the prosecutor and the divorce case. And she was like, man, dang, like we thought we had a way in, to get Maurice's take on the situation and, convince him to tell the truth. And she's like, okay, cool. Have you called Robin? And she's like, no, he's being a jerk to me right now. And in that moment, I felt Danny. I'm like, girl, you got so much conflict. You got so much going on. You cannot use any of your resources right now because all these men got you on a thread. Gary's 2 seconds from suing you. Robin is 2 seconds from firing your ass. And the prosecutor is 2 seconds from locking your ass up. So you just got a whole lot going on with the male species, and you need to chill. You need to chill after this because it's just the block is hot. The block is really hot right now. And so she tells Andy, like, you need to be exhausting all your resources to help Sabrina. Whatever. All right. So we're going to move right along. Zach and Fatima are sitting down talking, and she tells him that Heather came up to the office today, and then she doesn't immediately tell him why. And she tells him, like, the DNA has already proved that that's your baby, so that's your son. We just got to deal with the situation. And so now Mr. Zach is on one in a possible. He's on a baby and a half at this point. And that's a lot to take in because they also have not been dating very long. So that it's just so much going on early on in these people's relationships. And I don't like it, but it is a Tyler Perry production, and that is how this goes. Anyway, so he breaks and tells her, like, listen, the legitimate issue here is I don't want to be a broke joker with all these kids and baby mamas. And for Tim, like, listen, it's not that you're not broke at all at this current moment. For two, you had sex, babies happened. It's understandable. I mean, such is life. And she reminds him that I ain't cool with all of this. I trust and believe me, I'm not cool. I'm not happy about it. But if I were any of the other baby moms, I would want you to be in your kid's life. So we just got to do what we got to do, essentially. And then she goes on to tell him about the upcoming legal troubles with Heather. And she knows that they are engaged, but they need to kind of restructure things and think about this whole wedding situation just temporarily. She didn't say forever. She just, let's take a step back. Is basically what she's saying. And from a logical mindset. Because she's saying, she reminds him, like, hey, in the state of Georgia, when you get married, you take on each other's debts. So maybe let's not rush into the wedding thing and let's just take it a little bit easy. And he brings up her student loans, which are almost paid off. Like, oh, you bring in debt to the situation too. And she's like, but they almost paid off, which exactly, Zach, that's not an apples to apples. That's like an apple to a plum comparison. Maybe not plum, something smaller. Apples to a blueberry comparison. So it's just not adding up. Just bringing in the student loans had nothing to do with the situation. What she was really saying is for the vested interest financially, let's just take a step back. And and she tells him like, Heather's going to see Hayden, so they're gonna try to get you for everything you got. And I'm really, and she just keeps saying like, I'm trying to spare him. I'm trying to spare him. And Zach is like, just why do you keep trying to spare him? Like, why are you reluctant about telling Madam about what he's doing to you? Because at this point, she hasn't like let Madam in, which is her cousin, which is the mob lady from All the Queen's Men. Why are you not telling her, everything that she's doing to you, that Hayden has done to you, and who is this lady? Because everybody seemed to be a little scared of her. She was like, listen, just don't even worry about it. Just know I'm sparing this. I'm sparing this dude at this point. And she just wanted him to giving him the heads up so he makes sure that all his ducks are in a row, and we can do this thing the right way. And he's just in awe at how supportive and how level headed she is in this whole situation that they got going on. All right. So the girls show up at Karen's, and Aaron is on the way out to go to his little basketball game or whatever. And all right, cool, get out. Karen asks about Sabrina. She's like, the sister circle ain't complete. Where is Sabrina? And Danny's trying to force Andy to tell her, and she's like trying to come up with excuses. Karen is trying to call her, and so it's a little hectic right there. And so Danny's like, listen, before we give you this information, how you feeling? Like, are you ready to receive the information? Are you in a good space? Like, how you feeling? Got a lot of stress going on right now. She was like, no, I feel almost normal. And she was like, cool, bet. So all that was just, a green light for Danny. So Danny was like, listen, Sabrina's in jail. She ain't coming. Merry Christmas, basically. And so now Andy is forced to tell her everything about the bank robbery setup, Q, Maurice, investigation, federal charges, blah, blah. And so same sentiment as everybody else in the sister circle. You need to help her. You need to do everything you can to get her out of the situation. Blah, 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 blah. And then Danny's like, I think Andy really has it under control. She's going to utilize all her resources to help Sabrina. But we're here to talk about you. What did you want to talk about? And she tells them about the doctor's appointment and going to find out about the date of conception, which I know is not going to work out how they think, because, again, this is a Tyler Perry production. And we've been trying to find out the paternity of this baby for 10 episodes at this point. But anyway, she wants them there at her appointment. Even Danny, even though Danny be saying some off the wall stuff, she would like for her to be in support, even though it doesn't really feel complete without Sabrina there. Danny's like, listen, she ain't gonna be there. She in jail. So, basically just the cut and dry answer. Like, all right, you won't be there or not. And so, like, they're gonna accompany her to her doctor's appointment. All right. And then Danny goes on to ask legitimate questions. She was like, since we're talking, what happens to Zach not the baby daddy? Because you've been hanging your hat on Zach being this baby daddy for this whole entire situation. So how you gonna feel if you're not the baby daddy? And one thing about Danny, she gonna ask the questions that need to be asked, the legitimate questions, the questions that nobody want to say nothing to for sake of sparing somebody's feelings. And I ain't got no problem with it. So she asked her, you like, again, what happens if Zach ain't the daddy? And she's like, oh, it's fine. She claims to be fine. And she gave the message as if she were. And she tells them, she claims that the letter exercise that her mom had her do by way of her writing her feelings to the two different men, they worked. And, she's fine with the outcome. And then Danny asked the other legitimate question. So what if Zach is the daddy? And so Karen is like, okay, maybe you don't need to come, like, just kind of low-key flies out the handle a little bit, and they never get to the answer because they go on to talking about something else, which y'all should have circled back and finished that, because what if he is the daddy? Like, where do we go from here? Because you have wrapped your mind around the fact that if he ain't the daddy, you can basically just be done. You can wash that out of your hair and just be finished with the Zach saga. However, if he is that baby daddy, you're going to have to figure out how to coexist with him and his fiance and his son and her, and his son and Heather and her baby, his other baby mama, confirmed baby mama, might I add. So, that's a whole lot you're going to have to take on if Zach is in fact this baby daddy. So Keep that under your wig for a little bit. All right. So right then Robin calls Andy and she's acting like she don't want to answer the phone. And Danny is like, listen, it's not about you right now and your personal feelings about Robin. We trying to do what we need to do to get Sabrina out of jail. So go handle that and go answer the phone call. Precisely. Put on a good game face. You're a professional. Get through this and do what you need to do to get our girl out the goddamn jail. Go in the hallway and handle your business. So she steps out to take the call from Robin, and he tells her, I can help Sabrina. I've made a couple calls, and she was like, but the prosecutor, told me he won't give me bail, and he's stalling me out, and I couldn't get through to him. And he was like, Robin was like, no, sweetie, I don't talk to associates. I talk to bosses. So he has gotten in touch with the prosecutor's boss, and he's working some things in the background to be able to assist Sabrina. So, all right, cool. That's one hand clap of praise for Robin. All right, and then he goes on to apologize profusely, and Andy's still, kind of keeping his attitude, which I ain't mad at you, Andy, because like you said, you embarrassed me, you humiliated me, you kind of treated me like shit because you thought I slept with somebody else. Granted, we ain't even exclusive, so I don't really know why you would have such an attitude when we were just, how the young kids say, sneaky linking. Like, I don't understand why you would have an attitude, but he did. And so he's trying to find ways to make it up to her, and hopes that him helping Sabrina will be his way back into the Andy train. So we'll see how that works out. And she's so doggone gullible, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. All right. And then the other line is ringing. First of all, your hotline is blinging. There's too many people calling, and you're supposed to be here talking to your friends. That is annoying. Anyway, Gary's calling on the other line and claims that he needs to see her tonight. And she reminds him, like, listen, you say this every night. You want to see me for an hour, and you end up staying the night. Well, Andy, that's your fault. If you want him there for an hour, then once your 59 minutes is up, hit it, get the stepping. But you want him there because you want your back knocked loose, you want your spine adjusted, and that's understandable. Just be honest with yourself and keep playing the game until you put your grand villainous plan in motion, whatever that is. All right, so she agrees to let him come over. She's gonna be there in an hour, which is gonna explain why she's rushing to get out of Karen's place later on in the episode. All right, so the dudes are playing basketball, and they were playing basketball, and Gary's like, listen, I'm finna head out. I have a date, so y'all be easy. And then Zach shows up, and Aaron wants to talk to him, but Zach has this attitude. He's just like, listen, bro, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to be on your team. I don't want to play with you. I don't want to kick you. I don't want to kick it with you, or none of that. And then Mr. Hayton, Zach kept calling that man Hayton, like Hatin, comma. Yeah, sure. Hating. I know how to spell it, but Hayton. So he's like, Hayton showed up and with his little stupid face trying to rub it in the fact that he's gonna try to take him for everything he got and put him back in prison by way of helping Heather and just trying to take him down or whatever. He's just there to rub it in that man's face, that Heather's gonna take all his money and all this good stuff, and now they're going back and forth. But Zach has the foresight now to see, like, oh, you just trying to push my buttons and push me to beat your ass again. And Hayden's like, yeah, I would like that. With your little smug face. Oh, I would like that. And he's like, oh yeah, because you was begging for help, begging somebody to get me off you last time. So don't make me oblige. Do not make me grant the motherfucking wish. So Zach ain't with any of this, and Hayden literally just showed up to rub it in his face, and he leaves. And so Aaron, he broke up the little argument between them two, and now him and Zach are talking again, and Zach is just giving this man grief. Granted, Aaron has done nothing to you directly. You are no longer interested in Karen, so your animosity is a little bit displaced, but I'm gonna let you have it, and we're gonna move right along. All right, so Aaron tells him, like, listen, we don't have to be enemies. We can actually be cool about it. It's no real issue between us. And Aaron, he tells Aaron, like, Aaron, I really just want to dislike you. I really just want to dislike you. But every time that I see you or I interact with you, like, you're good to me, and I don't want you. Like, I don't want you to be nice to me. I don't want you to be good to me. Like, I really just want to hate you. And that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. And you know what? That's a word from the Lord, because sometimes people just hate you because they want to hate you. I just had to get that out of my spirit. Anyway, he really just wants to be upset with Aaron, which I have not been able to detect a logical reason as to why, but this is the hill he wants to die on. And so Aaron's like, listen, you can come get all this love. It's okay, brother. Like, we don't have to fight about it. All right. So Andy comes back inside of the apartment, and while she was out, Danny was in there telling all that girl business as it relates to Gary and Robin and everything that they had going on. And she was like, listen. And so Karen is like, oh, basically like, so that's what you've been doing while I've been on bed rest. And so she's trying to head out. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. And they're like, no. I need you to tell me what's going on right now, because we in here telling everybody's business. What you got going on? And so Andy, now what Andy did in this moment pissed me off, and it kind of would have had come to blows, because girl, you played in Danny's face, and you know better, because Danny don't play with you or nobody else. So Andy deflects from the question and goes on to tell Karen about the airport dude that Danny picked up during her hot girl summer phase that only lasted one night, and how she got attacked and how she got spit on, and basically just giving her the gory details about everything that went on, how she was domestic violenced and all the other stuff, and just the real low blow in my opinion, because we just sharing information, and her delivery, it was her delivery that was villainous. Oh, well, since we telling my business, how about that dude that did like that type of energy, So it was the energy of it all. And so, and Danny confirms, like, yeah, basically, yeah, it happened. It was messed up. I thought I killed him. I hit him with my car, like, very matter of fact. Like, you can't spill my tea and think it's gonna hurt my feelings, essentially. And so Danny, was like, but what really happened is my girl Fatima, she came through and she told me it was self-defense. She was like, oh shit. So now she done slipped up and, painted Fatima as a homegirl while Karen has been on bed rest. So Karen probably feels a little replaced at this moment. And so now she is, the block is hot, and she's just upset about the fact that the girl's been hanging out and, they've been click tight with Fatima all this, during this time. So immediate attitude from Karen, and Danny's like, listen, not too much animosity, because Fatima held me down better than our girl Andy. So just relax. Like, she didn't say, we didn't drag your name through the mud or none of that. But she's really a good girl. She's really a cool chick. And she was like, honestly, if she went with Zach, she'd probably be one of the girls. And so Andy's like, don't say that to her, whatever. But that was Andy's out so she can get out of there to get to Gary, honestly. And so Karen claims it's okay, I'm okay, I'm fine. So she says, we'll see how it goes. There'll be another incident, I'm sure, next week, but we'll just go with it for now. All right, Danny gets home, and Preston is standing outside, and they have a heart-to-heart. And she asks him, like, hey, did you ask old girl to marry you? Like, you were supposed to be, going to get engaged or hitched or whatever you was going to do. And he was like, no. And she's like, well, what's the holdup? Why didn't you do what you said you was going to do? Like, fulfill your threats, homie. And he was like, well, what I do next depends on you. Like, how you want to go about it. And she just flat out tells him, like, that's not fair. That's not fair. You are pressuring me to make a decision, and I'm not in a space to do so. Like, what do you mean? And then he goes on to say what he really meant. And what he really means, or what he really feels, is he needs her help in learning. He needs Danny's help in learning how to learn Danny as an individual. Like, what makes her tick, how to help her, when you need to back off, when you need to, press the gas, all this stuff. So basically what I took from it is y'all need to be in relationship, because these are things that come with being in relationship, right? That y'all tell me. That's what I got from that little segment there. Like, you basically need to learn the ins and outs of being with Danny, as does she need to learn for you. And so, message understood. Delivery, the way you went about it, trash. First of all, you took Zach's advice to get here, so that was dumb enough by itself. And she tells him, like, listen, I really don't know what I want. Some days I do, some days I don't. Sometimes, some days I can, some days I can't. I ain't got the answer, Sway. And so she tells him, like, her mind changes day to day, and she really ain't sure, and she don't want to hurt his feelings in the process. Oh, okay, that's fair. And so he, offers a suggestion, like, let's just not try to be all things at one time. Let's just take it one day at a time, one event at a time, and let's just try letting it be what it is supposed to be. Whatever that is, just let it be what it's supposed to be. And when it's supposed to be that, like, basically just go with the flow, girl. Go with the flow. Whatever we feel is what we feeling. Let's just go with it. Let's feel this thing out. Let's give it an old Air Force try. All right, that's cool. And he, like she said, she doesn't want her to hurt his feelings, and he goes on to tell her, like, listen, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. I can deal with what comes with it. Just give me a chance. Don't tell me how I feel. Let me feel what I feel. And so, they go upside, and she tells him, you're not getting to the answer, but you can come on up. We can have a cup of tea or something. All right. Karen calls Pam and asks her, the same line of questions she's been asking this whole time that she's been on bed rest. Hey, Pam, did you lock up? And it's a man in the background talking about, yeah, I locked up. I did everything, to close the shop up. So her little dip is in there with her, helping her lock up this place of business, which he had a business in there. He could sat in the car and wait until you got done, do what you needed to do. But anyway, Candace's like, girl, why you got this man in my thing? And she's like, it ain't nobody in here, basically blowing it off. But she does assure her that she did everything that she needed to do to lock up. And Karen's trying to make her get on video call, and she's like, no, girl, I'm not doing that. I'm on the way out. Like, I'm finna leave right now, so it's no point. I did what I needed to do. And she does throw a little threat out there. She's like, Karen, if you come up here, I'm gonna call your mama. And that kind of takes a little bit of wind out of Karen's sails, but yeah. So Pam claims that she locked everything up. And she turns out the light, closes the door, and we pan over and we see a curling iron that is indeed on and has not been turned off. So that is definitely going to be a problem next week, and you are going to damage this lady's business because you was too busy trying to get your yams clapped, and that's unfortunate for Karen because she got enough going on her plate currently. All right. So Karen was, something in Karen's spirit was telling her, go to the shop to make sure Pam locked up. So she was adamant about going there. So she's getting her keys and she's trying to go over to get her stuff and to make sure that she locked up. But Aaron intercepted her, not because he knew the information about the curling not still being on or anything, but he just wants her to relax. You meant well. Anyway, he was able to talk her out of going, and he offers her a massage, and she tells him, like, hey, if you still feel that way after I give you a massage and you relax and you wind down, I'll go check myself. So she agrees, and she was like, all right, first of all, you acting like my mama, but we're gonna do it your way this time. All right, it's cool. We'll go with that. Andy gets home, and Gary was supposed to be booty ball naked by the time she got there. Those are her instructions. So we see him, and he's sitting on the couch, and he indeed is not. He is fully clothed, and he looked like he got an attitude. He is pissed about something. So she's asking him, like, hey, why are you still dressed? What's going on? I'm excited to see you. What's happening? And he tells her, like, so is someone else. And so we pan over to the other couch on the other side of the room, and Robin is sitting on the couch. So while I thought for a half a second that it was going to be some shit, we jump to the little previews for next episode, and we see that I guess they were able to talk it out, and Gary is naked and realizing that Robin is not a threat to him. Now, how he came to that conclusion, we don't know. Or I felt like maybe he might be low-key bragging that, oh, I'm finna steal this man company from under him, so I ain't really worried about him for too long. We'll see. Anyway, so that was the end of that. That was the end of the episode. Like I said in the previews for next week, Zach want to know what this child support going to look like, because it might be cheaper to keep her and just go ahead and make these payments as opposed to letting her sue you and trying to take a good chunk of everything that you've worked so hard to get. And you see the prosecutors over there tempting Maurice to turn against Sabrina in exchange for his freedom. I'm assuming to be a similar deal that they tried to cut with, or that they did cut with Mr. Q. And yeah, And we also see that Calvin has finally successfully whooped somebody's ass. We'll see that next week. But he appears to be taking his golf clubs and whooping the shit out of Q. So I'm excited about that part. Hopefully we can get him out of this apartment now. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, this has been season 5, episode 10. Let me know what you think about the episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.